Frances Huygens, a former Facebook employee, leaked a bunch of documents to a group of news outlets. On Monday, a flurry of stories based on those documents showed, among other things, that Facebook's leaders have identified elderly people as a new existential threat to the social networking giant. To be more specific, the users who are still active on Facebook. This is because the number of young people who use Facebook has continued to go down. But that's not all. In today's video, we will be taking a look at how Mark Zuckerberg turned from being the public's beloved young billionaire into the biggest enemy for both the internet and the media. That's not news by itself, so move along. People have been making fun of the fact that only your parents and grandparents are still on Facebook for a while now. You probably already know that all the cool kids have moved on. On the other hand, the fact that there are too many older people in the core user base is another way of saying that there are also more people who have never used Facebook. Because it's true that a lot of younger people have moved away. There are, however, some young people who have no plans to ever use the service and will do everything they can to avoid it. So it's possible that Mark Zuckerberg, the CEO of Facebook, had those people in mind when he announced on Monday that Facebook is working on a huge change to how it runs. One that will change the course of the company to retooling itself in order to win over younger adults and, as a result, get more use from that age group. Zuckerberg pointed out to analysts during Facebook's most recent presentation of quarterly profits that this means Facebook is no longer optimizing for older people. What might be a sign that this change is happening? It's almost certain that one of the things it does is make the TikTok-like feature called Reels more noticeable in the main Facebook app, which is the kind of content style that 18 to 29-year-olds like. Which, by the way, is the age group that Facebook is now putting all of its attention on. Unluckily, this is the kind of thing that turns off older Facebook users who haven't quit the site yet. Could that be the lesson we should all learn from this change? Most of the bad press about Facebook has been about the kinds of content sharing and news-related posts that younger users don't do as much as older users do. Is it possible that Zuck is trying to do two things at the same time, trying to get away from his older customers while also making the service more appealing to the younger generation? The people who already use Facebook are only going to get more upset by this change. Those Facebook users whose happiness it makes sense for the company to put first. On the other hand, young people will continue to avoid this situation like the plague. You can't put the genie back in the bottle when it comes to too much Facebook use. Changing your name won't fix this problem. Also, as a postscript, those of you who think Huygens is giving the Facebook documents to the media will bring the company to its knees have, in a nutshell, lost your minds. Huygens said that Facebook's leaders, all the way up to Zuckerberg, have made some very bad decisions over the course of the company's history. This is true. There are also a lot that make people worry about ethics. This is shown by the fact that Zuckerberg had a hand in the company's decision to comply with a request from Vietnamese authorities that Facebook block the posts of political dissidents. Today I was able to hear some of the evidence Huygens gave to UK officials. Here's the catch, though. That matter, the censorship that was talked about before, you can't help but think that she and some of Facebook's other loudest critics want the company to do some of the same things here in the United States. It's easy for her and people like her to say that Facebook tolerates and spreads information that makes people hate each other. Their argument is that Zuck and his team aren't willing to do what needs to be done. The idea is that the smart people in Washington DC should solve the problem and make things better. Anyone with even a little bit of intelligence should not want this to happen. That is, for politicians to be able to have more control over what you see on Facebook. On the other hand, Huygens has given them the perfect reason to try and take some of that control. One complaint says that Instagram from Facebook hurts teenage girls. Huygens' complaints are the first of their kind because she took a lot of private Facebook research with her when she quit her job in May. The first time the documents were seen was in the Wall Street Journal last month, but Frances Huygens is going to say who she is and why she became the Facebook whistleblower overnight. Frances Huygens, who is 37 years old and from Iowa, has a degree in computer engineering and a master's in business from Harvard. She has worked for 15 years at places like Google and Pinterest. She copied tens of thousands of pages of Facebook research without anyone knowing. She says that there is proof that the company is lying to the public when it says it is making big steps towards stopping hate, violence, and false information. One study she found from this year, we estimate that we may action as little as 3 to 5% of hate and about 0.6% of violence and incitement on Facebook despite being the best in the world at it. Ethnic violence includes Myanmar in 2018, where the military started a genocide by using Facebook. Frances Huygens told us that Facebook hired her in the year 2019. She says that she only agreed to take the job if she could work against false information, because she had lost a friend to an online conspiracy theory. At headquarters, she was put on the civic integrity team, which worked on things like misinformation that could hurt elections. But after the election last year, things changed. Facebook says that the work of the civic integrity group was given to other groups. Huygens told us that the problem with Facebook comes from a change the company made to its algorithms in 2018. Algorithms are the programs that decide what you see in your Facebook newsfeed. The algorithm chooses one of these options based on the type of content you've been most interested in the past. Huygens says that Facebook knew how dangerous it could be for the 2020 election, so it turned on safety systems to stop spreading false information. But she says that many of these changes were only temporary, and I feel that's a real betrayal of democracy. Facebook says that some of the security systems are still in place, but after the election some people used Facebook to plan the uprising on January 6th. As proof, the prosecutors point to Facebook posts with photos of armed partisans and the text that says, "By bullet or ballot, restoration of the Republic is coming." Extremists use a lot of different platforms, but Facebook is the one that keeps coming up. After the attack, Facebook employees posted angry messages on an internal message board that Huygens copied. Haven't we had enough time to figure out how to manage discourse without enabling violence? We looked for good feedback and came up with this. "I don't think our leadership team ignores data, disagreements, or the truth," I said. "Welcome to Facebook," was the response. "I see you've signed up in November 2020. We've seen the company's leaders act in a vague way for years. Colleagues, I can't work for a company that doesn't do more to make up for the bad things its platform causes." Because of this, political parties from all over Europe sent a complaint to Facebook. Huygens got a copy of an internal report from 2019 that says the parties feel strongly that the change to the algorithm has forced them to skew negative in their communications on Facebook, leading them into more extreme policy positions. She says that the Instagram app from Facebook is also a sign of harm. Just last week, Facebook said it would put off plans to make an Instagram for younger kids. Thank you for watching. We hope to see you soon on a brand new video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel. See you soon on a brand new video.